Hey everybody, let's learn to make a perfect cup of coffee with a minimum of expensive equipment and stuff. So what I've got is a standard mug of coffee that we're going to make. I've got a pour over filter, Melita type filter here, and that's really all you need. I additionally have a fancy pouring thing here, as well as a food scale. But I'm going to tell you how to do this without any of that fancy stuff at all. Now, there's people that study all the techniques and temperatures and everything needed for making the perfect cup of coffee, and it gets a little bit crazy. But I'm going to show you how with like 10% of the effort to essentially get 90% of the same results they do. And the basic rule really is to make sure your water is hot and that you use a lot more coffee than most of us usually use. Okay? Now the technical details might be, people say use a 16:1 or so ratio of coffee to water. That's up to you. You can go as high as 18, whatever. But I'm going to make this really simple. So here's how we make the coffee. First of all, I have my Blues Brothers cup here. In Blues We Trust. And I have some hot water sitting in it because I like to have the cup warm also. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wet the filter a little bit. So, first of all, I've got this fancy pouring thing. You don't need this, but if you have it, it's really good for two reasons. The first is that the end of the spout is very, very narrow, so it really lets you control how you're pouring the water. The second thing is that the spout joins at the bottom. So when the water comes out, it is at temperature. It's not like it spills out the top and is mixing with a lot of air, room temperature air, blah, blah, blah. Again, that gets a little fancy. You don't need that. If you just have your standard kettle, you just have to have a real steady hand on how you're pouring it. That's no problem at all. Okay, so the first thing is to just pour a little bit of water in the filter just to wash the filter, and then we'll let that drain. The people that are crazy about their coffee say that if you don't do that, the filter gives a paper taste to what's going on. So we do that. Now we're getting ready to go, and I'm going to spill out the hot water I put in here. Okay, and now I'm going to add the coffee. Now the coffee that I've got here is about 16 to 20 grams of coffee. But if you don't have a scale to weigh it, this amount is about 4 tablespoons of coffee is the 16. And you can go as high as 5 if you want it even stronger. Now, if you grew up making coffee and it's a tablespoon per cup plus 1 for the pot, this is a lot more. This is more than double that. But I'm telling you, that's the way it works. So we put that in, and now we are ready to go. Oh, so I'm now all you have to really do is fill the cup up. Don't spill the coffee. Fill the cup up. But I'm going to show you a little more technique to it than that. So the first thing is I have it on my scale, and I'm going to zero out my scale. And now we're ready to add the coffee. Now add the water. Now, a standard mug like this holds about 250 grams of water. And then an additional 50 is sucked up by the grounds. So if I put 300 grams of water in here, we're done. And that's the deal. So the first thing you do this in 2 stages. The first stage is you pour just enough in to wet the grounds. And then you wait 30 seconds. So I'm just going to wet all those grounds. And then you wait 30 seconds. And this is what the crazy coffee people call the bloom. So we're going to wait 30 seconds. Okay, my 30 seconds is done, and now I'm going to add the water. Now you add the water in a few stages, making little circles here. And you don't want to throw like all the water in at once. But then again, you don't want the water sitting here, the coffee grounds sitting here dry either. So you add it a few times as it goes. And then you're done. And it should take 2.5 to 3 minutes total pouring time, and you got a perfect cup of coffee. And I'm just keeping an eye on the scale. so that when I get to 300 I know I'm done. And that's what we're up to. Pour a little more in here. Okay. And then we're almost there. Now, if your coffee is ground too fine, it's going to take much longer to get through, and it might be on the bitter side. If your coffee is too coarse, then it's going to run through quicker, and it won't have the full flavor you're looking for. So the 2.5, 3 minutes seems to be what people say is what you do. Okay, now I just need a little more to get to my 300. Boink. Okay, I ran over a little bit, but that should do it. Now let's give a minute and let it all settle through. Okay, now our coffee is all dripped through. And if we take a look there, we got ourselves one nice mug of coffee there. And that's kind of all it takes. Pretty cool, huh? See ya.